Hi, this is Arjun. So today now we are going to do an experimentation on photoelasticity in Design Lab. So now this is an experimental setup of a circular polariscope. Okay, so even we can conduct plain polariscope experiments using this particular unit. For that we need to just make few arrangements. Okay, and now this you can see this is a monochromatic light source. We are using the filter over here. And this is a polarizer. You can see here this particular unit is a polarizer, and this side you have one lens, and this is a first quarter wave plate, this is a quarter wave plate, and this is a second quarter wave plate, and on the other side, so similar device which is provided over this side, this is called as analyzer. Okay, now and we are going to place a model in between the polarizer and analyzer. So when so you can see here this is a polarizer. Always the polarizer axis, okay, and analyzer axis should be kept in perpendicular with the polarizer. The main reason is, so whenever the light ray which is emitting out of this monochromatic light source and passing through this polarizer and all these units, okay, if the axis of the polarizer and axis of the analyzer both are same, what happens? Light ray clearly emits out of the analyzer. So in order to avoid that, so we just keep this analyzer and rotate it about an axis of 90 degrees, which is mutually perpendicular to this. So initially, so when we keep this at this line, okay, both polarizer and analyzer will be in the same axis. So at that time, the light ray which emits out of this analyzer, so that we will not be able to see any image of the of an object. So now for that sake, so we rotate this analyzer to at an angle of 90 degrees. Now the polarizer will be exactly at this angle, okay, at 0, and this is 90 degree with respect to the polarizer. So what happens now, the analyzer reflects back all the light rays which is coming out of this, so that we can be able to see the clear object over here. Okay, and this is a first quarter wave plate. So when you rotate this first quarter wave plate, at an angle of 45 degrees, okay, now what happens, so now the light ray which is in between the polarizer and the light source, here it will be ordinary light. Once it emits out of the polarizer, okay, the light ray will become a plain polarized light, and when you rotate this first quarter wave plate at an angle of 45 degrees, okay, that rotation what it does to the particular light ray is it converts the plain polarized light into a circularly polarized light, and that circularly polarized light will now incident on the model, and after passing through the model it will be a circularly polarized light in between these two regions. And what we do is, okay, we rotate the second quarter wave plate again at an angle of 45 degrees. So by doing this, now again that circularly polarized light will now incident on this second quarter wave plate. Since it is opposite to this 45 degrees, the second quarter wave plate, now that the circularly polarized light will get converted into a plane polarized light, and the plane polarized light will now incident on the analyzer, and it will be reflected back, and we can able to see the image. Now in experimentation, what we have to do is, so you can see this, we have to take the load initially, and we have to keep applying the load. You can see now the load keeps on increasing. Increase the load. So now I'm applying the load to this particular device. So here now I hope you can see the clear formation of a fringe. Now this is a first fringe which is formed. So similarly, if you keep on increasing the load, okay, the earlier formed fringe will move outside, and here you can see the later formed fringe. I am increasing the speed. Now it is developing, and it will intersect at this particular point. You can see now it is intersecting, and this is fringe order 2, this is a second fringe order. So similarly you can increase this will be a third fringe order. So yeah, now this is a third fringe order. Similarly, you can keep on increasing the speed. Now I told I could tell you the differences between what happens when you keep the polarizing axis and the analyzer axis in the same. Now see what I am doing is, so now I am rotating the quarter wave plate, the second quarter wave plate to 0, and even the first quarter wave plate to 0. Now you can see this is isoclinic fringe pattern and isochromatic fringe pattern. So it becomes very difficult to identify what type of fringe pattern it is, and even it becomes very difficult to identify the number of fringes formed. So, and again see, now what I am doing is I am placing the analyzer axis, okay, at 0 with respect to the polarizing axis. Now we are not able to see any image. So even you can look at this point. You can look at this point. The load is around 57 kgs, but still we are not able to see any image over here. Now when I set this to exactly 90 degrees in line, we can able to see the some image. Okay, since the light ray is now reflecting back, and I am setting this first quarter wave plate to at an angle of 45 degrees. And second quarter wave plate at an angle of 45 degrees. Now I can clearly able to visualize the object effect of stressed model. Okay, effect of stress. This is a circular disc which is now subjected to a diametrical compression, and you can note down the number of fringes and you can calculate.
Done, sir.
Okay, now okay, now the fringe order is 1. For first fringe order, the load was around 16 kg, and for second fringe order, the load was around 32 kg, and third fringe order was observed at a load of 48 kgs, and fourth fringe order was observed at a load of 64 kgs. So we have to convert this into Newton. So this will be 156.96 Newton, and this is 313.92 Newton, and this is 470.88 Newton, and this at 64 it is 627.84 Newton. So, and this effective load, it will be in terms of Newton, P, which is equals to W into R. This R is a distance, okay, with respect to that loads. Okay, this effective load will be calculated, and this is about 387.69. And for second case it is around 775.38, and for case 3 it is around 1163.06, and for case 4 this is 1550.76, and we need to plot a graph of this effective load versus fringe order. So when we plot the graph, okay, it will be something like this. For 4 fringe order 1, fringe order 2, fringe order 3, fringe order 4. So you would get approximately graph like this using, I'm not plotting a graph according to the scale, so I'm taking approximate values. So if you take this, and this will be del P, change in the load values, and this will be change in fringe order. So this value according to the actual scale, okay, if you plot it to the actual scale, you get around 400, so that will be taken here. And the material fringe constant, okay, we'll find out material fringe constant using this. So here diameter of the particular specimen is, we have considered is 65 mm. So to that particular diameter, the value obtained, the material fringe constant obtained was 15.67 Newton mm per fringe, and the model fringe constant, this for this particular case was around 2.611. Okay, thank you. And this I forgot to tell about this R. Okay, this is R is a ratio of lengths. So R is ratio of lengths. Okay, ratio of lengths. So it is taken as L by L1, and this L is length of the fulcrum, okay, which is length of the fulcrum to the load. So this total length for whatever the instrument that we have considered was around 525 mm, and length of the fulcrum to the specimen, okay, length from fulcrum to the specimen, length from fulcrum to the specimen, so in our instrument it is around 212 mm. So this ratio of lengths, it happens to be around 2.217. Okay, so now that is the load, that is what we are considering here. So this will be load, this Newton into 2.217 will give you this value. Thank you.